this is such an exciting venue for innovation and entrepreneurship. I'm sure there are a ton of entrepreneurs out there who would love to hear from you. What are you looking for when you are looking at a company? Is there a formula for success? What excites you from an investing standpoint?
Our firm has been around for 35 years and invested in over 750 companies, so a lot of it is just pattern recognition and learning the easy way and many times the hard way. We also have rather large funds we invest, so for us, one of the most important things we look at is big markets. Is it a unique product or technology chasing a big market where it can disrupt that market and become a big company? And then probably at the heart of it is the team, the entrepreneur. Dick Kramlich, who's the founder of NEA, gave me one great piece of advice when I joined a decade ago. He said, be uncompromising on the CEO. And we have, it's words that we hold pretty close at NEA, and it just has proven to be very fruitful for us.
It seems like everyone is now starting a company to be bought by a Facebook or Google, and that there aren't that many Zuckerbergs out there. Do you see a lot of game changers out there? Who, in your opinion, might be the next big thing?
In terms of Zuckerberg, I think he's one of a kind. It's not to say he's the only one. If you look at the generations of entrepreneurs that have come to market, in the last, even just look at the last 5 years, there's been some wonderful companies created. There's been some fundamental CEOs, these iconic CEOs that I think for the next 10, 20, 30 years are going to be household names. Who are the next? Time will tell. We've got a couple in our portfolio, we think. Aaron Levie at Box, Matthew Prince at Cloudflare. There's something about these founder CEOs that their wisdom is decades ahead of their age, right? And they're just able to see things that others can't. And they also do something that is also atypical. They recognize their deficiencies pretty early and they build a killer team around them. And they're a magnet for talent, which these days, how competitive it is, the more you can be a magnet for elite talent, the better shot you have. So I think there will be more out there, but it's very difficult to find.
Is there a tech bubble?
The late 90s, it was a valuation bubble, but it was a fundamentals bubble. There was companies that never should have even been formed, never for sure not have gone public, just silly things, right? And so there was a euphoria that people just didn't really appreciate. I don't think there's a fundamentals bubble here at all. I think these are fundamental, iconic companies that are getting created. They have massive scale. On the enterprise side, they have massive revenue. On the consumer side, they have massive engagement in users. And these are now platforms. Now, is there a valuation bubble? It's frothy. For sure, it's frothy. And when will that let up? Unclear. I think a softening is healthy. We'll see. For VCs, it's a double-edged sword. Again, we have companies that on the on-ramp to go public, that are raising money, they're benefiting from it. And then you have new investments that you're looking at that's maddening. You're like, why aren't these companies at cheaper valuations? So it's both sides of the coin. It's much better than it was in 08, 09, obviously. In 2001, 2002, we'd rather have that because at least there's exits and at least there's these great companies that are getting created and hitting the market.
Do you have any predictions you can share with us? Any surprises you should keep an eye out for? I'm
probably still thinking the glass is half full. I think, and the reason for that is if you just look at the enterprise side and the consumer side, two main areas we invest in, there's just fundamental shifts happening in terms of cloud and mobility, right? And as those stacks are getting created, whether it's applications, infrastructure, middleware, networking, security, storage, all of these things, they're becoming bottlenecks, and so there's innovation happening at every step of the way. Same thing in consumer. So I think that innovation wave is going to continue. I think there's some spectacular companies you'll see go public. I think will you see a Facebook or a Twitter type, tens of billions type IPO this year? I'm not sure, but I think this wave will continue. I also think we'll probably see a correction. I wouldn't be surprised if it happens second half of the year. First half of next year. I think it's healthy because these, especially for example, let's look at SaaS. The valuations these companies are trading at, the bills are going to come due. These companies cannot grow 100, 200% a year ad infinitum. So there'll be a reset. Hopefully, it'll be more of a mild reset versus a harsh one. But I think it's generally a very favorable environment, mainly because very high quality companies are getting created and built.